spent 2 months making the most overproduced reel, so here's how I did it. First, I needed a cool layer for me and my friends to hang out in, so I came up with this. Firstly, I added some walls, and then used an array modifier for the ceiling and pillars, then drew in some cables using ScribbleGen, then blocked out the rough locations for my team's desks, gave our producer Chanel some speakers, and more speakers. Levi, my co-director, had the essentials like old office equipment, lightsabers, and crumpled up Uber Eats bags, not to mention some bomb drones. Then I modeled and brought in this cool light fixture I made based off of this reference, covered it in chains and cables, and then brought in our satellite and gave it a proper tradies workstation. And that was it for the environment. But then I ran into a snag. I had an idea for this cool robot character in a universe called Gert, but the problem was, this is all I had made so far. So I spent the next few weeks learning how to make a fully custom character with a fully custom rig. So firstly, I got his rough model, then I added on some extra assets like the TV head and the arms, gave him some claws, and a brain to control everything, and some good old-fashioned grit, love, and cigarette stains courtesy of a loving father. Then it was on to rigging. So I spent a stupid amount of time trying to actually figure out how mechanical hinges and robots would actually move and work, and then spent even longer building the bones and testing said rig. Then I gave Gert some IK bones for his hands, added some custom controller bones to make it a little bit more usable, then added some baked animation switches so Gert can do stuff like this. But I still had the most important thing left, the face. So over in Photoshop, I made about 80 different eyes and mouth pieces each, which is like 6,500 different possible combinations that he could have. And then I set up a bone controller to cycle through them. This is still a work in progress. I would like a face rig. So with my scene ready and Gert being built, the only thing left to do was film my plates and animate them. So since I get a lot of questions about how I do this effect, here is how I made this style of animation. Firstly, I film my IRL plays with the same camera height and focal length that I have in my CG camera. You'll need a high shutter speed of 1/300 or up, deep focus of at least 5.6, and you want to make sure you film with good lighting that matches your scene. Bring your clips into the editor and line up your best takes to lip sync, then send your clips into After Effects, and here's where you really sell it. Go through and key or rotor your clip, freeze your mask, pre-comp your layer, and then add the posterized time effect and set it to half of your native frame rate. Now you have the basis of the effect done. Now it's time to get creative and do the squash and stretch. Set a keyframe on your scale, unlink your scale factors, set 3 keyframes prior to your rest frame. Go big, small, big, normal. Then highlight and set your frames to hold frame. Well, that's the basics of it. And you can get even more creative and mask out stuff like the hands if you really want to get cooking. And that's how I did the effect. Now for all my plates cut out, it was time to align all nearly 30 of them in my 3D scene. Then I went and animated Gert, who's my little clanker. Then it was time to render all those shots, then composite them all in Nuke with the help of Levi's scripts. Then finally color in DaVinci and sound design in Premiere. And that's how I made the most overproduced reel ever.
I love to go out.